All right, everyone, welcome to today's market recap. Today is May 19th, 2025. It's a Monday. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't going to make this video, but, I was laying in bed and I was thinking, and I was like, you know what? I just got to get to work. I just got to get to making my short form video every day, my market recap every day, and I can't make exceptions. If I make one exception, it allows myself to make exceptions every single day. And the version of me that's long-term profitable is doing these every day, and I know that. So I'm going to be making these every day. So let's talk about what happened today. And yeah, so today was kind of frustrating because it was a no-news Monday. If I pull up Forex Factory, which is, if you don't know what Forex Factory is, this is basically where you get your news, figure out what news you have for the day. We had nothing. So no news Monday, right? So, like I said, I'm going to start going on rants at the beginning of these. One of the hardest parts about trading is understanding that the best decision is to be defensive. And it's so hard. I say that very, humbly because I'm still really working on it. I really, really have a lot of work to do with this. But you really, on a no-news Monday, you come into the market, you got to be defensive. You got to be sitting there and saying, how can I not take a loss, right? Because you can see from this chart what opportunities were there in this price leg. Not a lot, right? There's not a lot, and then by the time that we've pretty much hit this consolidation, we just chop around. So there's not a lot of opportunity here. The main opportunity of the day, and I will talk about this, was this trade. It was really, really nice because it was very clear accumulation. Boom, accumulation, manipulation, and then we get an amazing 3-minute inverse for value gap. Now, something I'm going to start doing is I'm only going to be mentioning inverse for value gaps for now. I'm not going to be talking about flow states. I know before I was talking about both of them, and you know what? I'm locking in on one model. I'm just doing inverse for value gaps. In the far future, if I'm seriously super profitable on inverse for value gaps, I will add in flow state. But for now, hopefully you guys are okay with me just talking about inverse for value gaps because guess what? Do we want to make money? Yes. So we're just going to focus on one model right now, right? So anyway, accumulation, manipulation, and then what happens here? Really, really nice 3-minute inverse for value gap. And I really, really like this. But I made a new rule for myself. I said, my new rule is I'm not going to take trades that are prior to market open. I'm gonna get on the chart starting at 9:15, but I'm not gonna start taking trades until after market open at 9:30. And you can see this trade happened at 9:24. So if you guys don't understand this trade, I'm going to break this down. We swept out both of these lows. You can see look at how this is just really, really obviously like a range. This is a range. So the market is building up liquidity. It's waiting to get people that are going to buy back higher for a loss, right? It's basically... It's this constant battle that's going on between people that are dumb money and people that are smart money. Accumulation, manipulation, and then we inverse this 3-minute for value gap. And as well, we sweep out both of these lows. So this is really important, by the way, the sweep. Notice how we pop below this low really aggressively. Pop, and then aggressive close back higher, and the candle body doesn't close too high. It's just perfectly positioned. We get this momentum candle. Very, very nice trade. And you would want the reason you would want to be bullish, and I'm going to explain that in just a second. We have really good trendline liquidity here. So if I mark this out, you can see how perfectly how perfect this trendline liquidity is. So that's essentially what you want to target. So let's talk about the higher time frame actually, because it brings up interesting thing that I want to talk about, where it's frustrating because I did know the bias today going into the market. I did know, check this out. We have a daily fair value gap. Daily fair value gap. And then we sweep out. This low right here is actually previous day's low. If I mark this out here, check this out. This low is previous day's low. And if you don't know, when you sweep out previous day's low, it is a super good liquidity sweep, right? So here we have a previous day's low. It gets swept. And then where do we go? Right to our higher time frame drawn liquidity, which was previous week's high. Check that out. See how perfect this was? And then also, you'll note that we had SMT. So we have SMT. So look at the S&P 500 here. The S&P 500 makes a higher low. NASDAQ makes a lower low. So this is an SMT. This is what you want to see before a reversal. So you get this higher low with the S&P, lower low with the NASDAQ. And so this is where things get crazy, because I knew this whole entire model before it happened. But the frustrating thing is, if you don't get the exact entry you want, you'll still mess it up. So check this out. I had this model framed in the pre-market, and I was looking at it as accumulation. If I measured out this range, we rebalance back to equilibrium, so discount. We get SMT, and then we get SMT in this daily fair value gap, and then I was looking at us getting this 1 hour change instead of delivery, and you can see that's exactly what we got. So going back to this chart here, we end up getting that 1 hour change state delivery, but it closes all the way up here. It's like what do you, like, I'm not going to take it if we close all the way up there. And I'm also not taking flow state right now. But yeah, previous day's low swept, SMT. And so with all that in mind, you were possibly looking at this being a buy model. That's essentially what I'm getting at, is this is essentially possibly a buy model going into today. And so that is why I would be bullish down here. And so this is, like I said, this is the trade of the day, where you just have this really, really nice accumulation, manipulation, and then 3-minute inverse for value gap. It's so nice. This quick pop. See how we pop below this old low, close above, and then this, we enter here and we target this higher time frame liquidity here. And you see how we perfectly run all the way up to our objective, which is previous week's high. I mean, you can't make this up. You just can't. So yeah. And then it's tough because, like I was saying in my rant, like, I wanted to I would have loved to take this trade, but I'm not trading pre-market. So I did everything right except for accepting that I should not have taken a trade today. I shouldn't have taken a trade today. And it's hard. It's hard because you see all this move higher and you're like, okay, I want to take a trade. But no, you can't make trades out of nothing. There wasn't any opportunity. There wasn't any good inverse value gaps. I tried to basically force a trade in here, and I'm going to explain that. So this was our drawn liquidity, previous week's high. And it's important. I'm going to talk about my loss because I think it's important to understand so that so all of us don't make the same mistake, right? We had this fair value gap here, and yes, we had to close above, but I like these indecision closes and then a stronger close. I like inverse fair value gaps where you have that. So close, stop loss, and then yeah, I was essentially looking at this inverse fair value gap, and you can see this actually did end up would have ended up going pretty far, but it would have ended up hitting previous week's high, but unfortunately I had my stop here, right? So let's talk about this. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? Because these are the types of trades you have to understand, like how do we get better off of this? And if I'm being completely honest, right? So the reason I like this, let's go to my journal real quick. The reason I like this is because you're delivering from a fair value gap, you have SMT. But the macro ended, right? I shouldn't have taken it with the macro ending. And then this candle body closes way too high. And look at how price action is just super choppy. This is why when you have a no news Monday, you have to be defensive. You have to be defensive. You have to go into the market and you have to be defensive. If you're not, you're going to try and create trades from nothing, and that's essentially what I did today. This was good liquidity. This was good engineered liquidity, but a lot of the time you're going to create trades from nothing if you're going into the market looking for a trade, whereas if you're not looking for a trade, the trade will come to you. So lesson here is especially on no news Mondays, you got to be defensive. You got to be defensive and just repeat that in your mind. I'm here to not take a trade. And if the trade comes to me, then I'll take it. Right? That's the whole point. So hopefully you guys got something from this video. Like I said, I wasn't going to make this. But you know what? I know that the version of me that's profitable is making these videos every single day. So that's what I'm going to do. I will see you guys later. Bye.